Now, that saying that I mentioned was from the talk in 2020 that you gave, titled "Is Bias Always Bad?" And you challenged a commonly held belief among researchers that they should be unbiased. What was it that gave you the idea for that talk?
Over the range of like kind of research projects I've done, there are some projects where it's a pretty simple, like unidimensional kind of project where it's a noble, like absolutely necessary project. Like how do we get our users to have a successful checkout experience on our website? It's very well defined topic. And it's kind of easy to kind of navigate your biases and kind of your what you're bringing to that. But then there are also projects which are, I guess, more multi-dimensional in the sense where you are kind of digging down into the layers. If you are looking at projects where we're hoping to get some like behavior change, either in like health or in like the addiction space, there are a lot of like underlying reasons why you are behaving the way we all do as humans, right? And I think what you start doing there is you try to understand the deeper motivations, what are the values that drive those motivations, and at that point you might realize that this thing that you're working towards it's not just, you're not just designing for someone else, but you are equally part of the solution that you're designing. And at that point, like who is the researcher and who is the user? And that line gets like really blurry. So
and when you realize that, what do you do?
You start thinking about what do you do. I mean, that's literally kind of, I think, what was my trigger point to like kind of just take time, like regularly, or whenever I had some downtime at work, just like writing in my notebook, like what does this mean, like trying to expand, like trying to think of like how do I navigate between those lines. So and I think I may be wrong, but I feel like because I come from like applied research background, and not a lot of these things are taught to you in school, like in design school, which I think is a really missed opportunity because the world is so complex and so like connected like that. But I wish someone had taught this to me in school. I wish there was like a subject, how to deal with bias or like ethics in design, and but unfortunately it wasn't something that was taught academically to me. So I had to kind of just go on my own journey, and I think it's something that will evolve my kind of like my understanding about the topic over time.